Hi, this is John Mack at Full Sail University in Integrated Product Development, and this is my alpha walkthrough. Um, so just like last week, you'll notice we have three screens visible to us. On the far left, we have our Android device. On the far right is our iOS device, and in the middle is our project prototype that will showcase some of the functionality that you'll see throughout the two devices that has not yet been fully implemented. So just to recap on last week, functionality to create and log into master family accounts was implemented on both devices, and that includes the ability to add individual family member profiles to the overall account. This week, functionality to edit the master family account, including the family's last name, street address, postal code, master email address, and master password have all been implemented, as well as the ability to update the family photo and delete the family if the user chooses to. In addition, functionality to change individual user profiles and delete individual users has also been implemented. So to start from the very beginning, we'll go ahead and create a new family, and we'll start by entering their last name, their street address, and then their postal code. When we hit continue, we will then be prompted to enter the account's master email address, and the master password. It's important to note that the only time a user will be asked for an email address or password is when creating or logging into the family account. Individual profiles do not require username or passwords, and that's ultimately because the idea here is to give parents control, as much control over the account as possible, and limiting the amount of control that children have to the account in certain situations. So individual profiles are actually authenticated using the user's first name and profile PIN, which they define themselves. And we'll see that come into play in just a moment. So we'll go and continue here, and now we're going to add a family photo. And for this one, we'll use our camera, and we'll just get a nice picture of the window there for our family photo. And once we click on create, that family account is automatically created, and we're taken to the first screen that allows us to create a parent. So we're going to enter the parent's first name, their date of birth, their gender, and their family role, and then their profile PIN, which is specific to this profile and this specific user. Next, we'll be able to add an individual profile photo, and we'll use the dog for dad. We'll go ahead and add one more parent. Say that she is mom. And we'll get a nice picture from the camera for her. And mom can be the coffee cup. And then we'll add a couple of children, so we can see how the entire family is populated at certain points throughout the application. And one more child just for fun. And we'll say we're finished creating our family. So at this point, we're automatically logged into the first parent profile that was created on the account. And to showcase some of the data persistence for the application, we'll log into the account we just created on our iOS device. And to begin with, we'll go ahead and log into another parent so that we can see some data persistence really show through here. So we'll log into mom, and we'll jump straight over to the profile tab, which is where this week's functionality has been implemented. So right away, you'll notice that there is some missing information on this screen on both the Android and iOS devices. This is because the data that will be populated here will not come into play until newsfeed functionality has been implemented next week. So what we'll see is on the family newsfeed, this is where we'll see a chronological listing of all timeline posts and check-ins from every family member on the account within the last 7 days. When we come over to the profile tab, we'll see all activity from that individual profile within the last 7 days. So there's a little bit of a difference, same functionality, but it'll be filtered out to that specific user. So for now, we'll kind of look at the functionality that's specific to profiles that has been implemented. You'll see under our profile photo, we have a couple of buttons that allow us to update the photo using our camera or via the gallery. That same functionality is functional on iOS. However, I will point out that in this demo, we will not be able to demonstrate camera functionality for iOS, and that is because the camera does not work on the iOS emulator. However, that functionality has been tested on a physical iOS device and is fully functional. So the first thing we'll do is showcase that we can update our individual profile photos. So we just updated mom's profile photo. And if we go and look at our entire family list, which only parents have the access to do by clicking on the family button, you'll see mom's photo is now the photo that we just set. It's nice, quick, and easy, and it's super slick. So we'll update mom's photo one more time just so we can see that in action. And go, nope, let's save the photo first, mom. And then we'll go and view mom again. And there is her new profile photo. So let's just showcase how we can update, how parents can update all of the profiles on the account by changing those photos one at a time on iOS. And then we'll go change them again on Android so we can see that data pass between the two devices. So we can see Breland's profile has been updated. And now Myra's profile has been updated. As you can see, there is an issue surfacing just in the course of this demonstration that will need to be addressed, and that is these photos are not updating on iOS instantaneously as they should be. That may be a back-end data issue. That's something that I'll be looking into for the remainder of the sprint and getting that corrected. So now if we go back over to our Android side and we click on our family button, we can see all of those individual profile photos have been updated. We can also update our family photo, and we'll do that in iOS again because it has prettier pictures. And we'll do a nice picture of a flower for our family photo. And on Android, we go back into our family screen, we'll see that family photo has been updated. And the same thing works in reverse. So if we change our family photo over here, the next time a user on the iOS device pulls up that family screen, that photo is updated. And same thing for individual profiles. So we'll update Dad's profile picture, and then if we pull Dad up, you'll see his profile picture is loaded. So there we are. That's pretty cool. You can see it appears that some of the loading issues on iOS are tied into our navigation controller, and we'll get that fixed. And let's update our family photo one more time. And then we'll move on to the rest of the account functionality that's been implemented. Okay, so from here, parents have the ability to delete individual profiles. And what we'll do is we'll start on iOS, and we're going to delete one of our child profiles. We'll delete Myra. And you can see Myra has been removed from the family list on iOS, and if we refresh our family list on iOS, it appears that we do have an issue here. So Myra is no longer in the account, and we can see that as her profile photo is no longer loading. However, she is still populating so that is another issue that will be addressed before the end of this sprint by Saturday. Now, the other thing that I wanted to showcase here is if a parent deletes their profile, the one that they're logged into, they're automatically logged out and returned to the login screen. So at this point, what we'll do is log back in. And we will log in with our child account, the one that is remaining. And here we'll be able to see some of the differences come into play. So the main difference is that child accounts do not have the ability to access the rest of the family. You can see that button here is missing on the child account. And they also do not have the ability to delete their own profile. That functionality is limited only to parents. And the last thing that we'll showcase here is the ability for parents and only parents to make changes to the family accounts information. So if we were to come in here and let's say we'll change our family's name to Jones, and we'll make a correction to our street address and our zip code. And we'll even change our master email address. And we'll save that. Okay, and there's a slight glitch there that will need to be fixed. We'll address that this sprint as well. But you can see that information has been implemented, and that would persist if we were still logged into our family account over on iOS, which we should be able to close this out because I do have some functionality built in that would allow us to log back in if we close the application completely. And that will not be included in the final release. However, if we try to log in with our old email address on iOS, there is no longer an account associated with that email address. However, if we type in the new email address, we can now log in. And you'll see that new information has been populated. We can also change our password, and these changes do require us to enter the current account password, and we'll change that password by adding just one digit to the end there. And that password has been updated. So now if we try to log in again, we'll use what we know is the correct password, or the correct email address. That was our old password, and it is no longer valid. However, our new password also does not work. So in this case, we've forgotten our password. And yes, that was intentional. At this point, what we would be able to do is enter our email address. And we will receive a link via email to reset that password. The last bit of functionality to showcase here is the ability to completely delete our family account. And that is simply done by clicking on the trash can on the family account screen, deleting it. We are logged out, and that account is no longer active. It's important to note here that the account information itself still exists in the database, so all profiles and all history persists if the user were to log back in with or create a new account with that that same email address. It would be possible in future versions of the application to check the database for history for that email address and ask the user if they want to import their old history into their new account. That is it for this week's walkthrough. I have enjoyed my time in this class, and we will see you next month.